Familiar is back with another Python project. Yes, I know. Projects are good. You put into practice all the stuff that you've learned. So today is day 47 of the 100 Days Programming Challenge, and we will be building a simple project called FizzBuzz. Yes, that's the name. So let's begin. Day 47, Python Programming Challenge, Project Day. Project Day. I don't know what I'm doing. Project Day. Hey there, welcome to day 47. 47 days! Well, today I have a very interesting project. It's called FizzBuzz. When I first saw this, I wondered what FizzBuzz is. So I went to Wikipedia and I saw that it's a word game for children to teach them about division. And something interesting that I saw is under the programming section that is often used in interview screening to weed out applicants with absolutely no programming experience. So maybe this is something that you would want to learn how to do. So what is FizzBuzz? FizzBuzz challenge is defined as follows: that you want to print a number between 1 to 100 or between 1 and whatever number you want. And for the multiples of 3, you want to print Fizz. And for the multiples of 5, you want to print Buzz. And then for numbers that are both multiples of 3 and 5, you want to print FizzBuzz. So what would we use in this project, you might ask? We're going to define a function. We're going to use a function. We're going to use for loops. We're going to use if statement. We're going to use try and except. And we're going to use user input. That's what I said about project, that it allows you to use so many things in one. So functions, for loops, if statement, try and except, and user input, and the print function. So let me show you how to do this. So first, I want to define my function. My function is FizzBuzz. That's the name of my function because that's what we're doing. And then I want to pass in. That would be the number. I said you have to print between 1 and a given number. So this would be the number that I'm trying to get to. And then what do I want to do? I want to use range. Oh, I forgot, we're also going to use range. And you know what range is? Range is when you have to start telling the program where to start from and when to end. So when you say for number in range 1 to 10, that means you want it to start from 1 and you want it to end at 9. So for number, but for here, I want to get the input from the user. So I don't want to limit it to just 100. I want to ask the user that what number do you want to run FizzBuzz with? So that's I'm using for num in range 1 and then n plus 1. Why am I using n plus 1? Because if the user enters 100, I want it to also run to 100. I don't want it to stop at 91. So that's why I'm using that range. And then 99, sorry. And then what are the conditions? That if it's able to divide by, if it's multiples of 3, I want it to print Fizz, so I have to do that. And if it's multiples of 5, Buzz, and if it's multiples of 3 and 5, then I want it to print FizzBuzz. Or else I want it to just print the number. So let me show you the if statement for this. So this is the if statement. So if it's a multiple of 3, if you're able to divide through 3 and you get 0, if you're able to divide through 5 and get 0, then you print FizzBuzz. If you're able to just divide through 3, you want it to print Fizz. If you're able to divide through 5 without any remainder, you want it to print Buzz. And then otherwise, just print the number if it is not divisible. So then this is our function. So now let's take the input from the user, and we'll be using try and except because again, you cannot predict what your users would enter. So if they enter something that is not an integer, I don't want my function to break. Instead, I want to be able to put a nice message that, sorry, you did not enter an integer, please enter an integer. So this is my input. So user input. So this is what is wrong with my keyboard? So int, And then my inputs. I'm using int because you know that when you use input, your output, it takes it as a string. It takes your input as a string. So I'm converting it into an integer because then we'll be able to use it for our division in our function. So input, what do I want them to input? I'm going to put a nice message for them to know what we're trying to do. So enter the number up to which you want to run FizzBuzz. And then now my if conditions. If the number, if user input is less than or equal to 0, then I want to print that enter a positive number. Then else I want to run my function on the user input. So I am calling my function in the if statement. If you want to learn about functions, we spoke about it at length on day 35 and on day 36. So FizzBuzz, and what am I using in my function? I'm using the user input. And then let's accept value error. So this is accept, I forgot my value error. That is if they enter like alphabet and stuff. So I want to also put like this is an invalid input. Please enter raise up, enter an integer. Okay, so this is the function. Let me explain what the function is doing. So we're getting our number. What is num here? It's what we're using in our for loop in the range of 1. We're starting from 1 up to n plus 1 because we're using range. So we want it to, you see, that's what we said, enter the number up to which you want to run FizzBuzz. So up to that number, because we're using range, we have to use n plus 1. And then when num is divisible by 3 without any remainder, and also by 5 without any remainder, we want to print FizzBuzz. But if it's just divisible by 3, we want to print Fizz, and by 5, we want to print Buzz. Otherwise, we want to print out the number. And then we're taking the input from the user. If it is less than or equal to 0, it's not a positive number. We want them to enter a positive number. And then if it's a positive number, we want to run our function. And then we're accepting valid error in case they enter alphabet and stuff. So let me run this. So enter a number which you want to run FizzBuzz, and then let me enter 100. And this is our result. So for numbers that are divisible by 3, you say 3 for example is Fizz, 5 is Buzz, 6 is Fizz because 6 divided by 3 is 2, and the rest. So let me just show you if you enter like 0, and you see enter a positive number. And what if you enter like subscribe, invalid input, please enter an integer. So this is a cool project. You see we use the function, we use a for loop, we use an if statement, we use user input, we use range, we use try and accept. Thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you were able to learn something from it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And don't forget to also try the practice questions that are in the Jupyter notebook and put your solutions in the comment section. Let's build a community together. As always, the link to that notebook is in the description below, and I'll see you tomorrow.